part of me thinks it's like these Bravo producers are like, do you have something in your closet?
Have you been
salacious?
Have you been evading taxes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank
Come
you.
on in.
Do you feel like you ever have the possibility of going to federal prison? Yes. Great. You're hired.
You're hired.
Hello and welcome back to
What's
the tea.
up?
Hey, ladies, how are you?
Hey,
So
great.
good.
Right?
So
Are you guys
good.
excited? We're back again in the studio. Second episode of The Tea. I am one of your hosts, Blake Woodruff, here on Erupt. We also have the beautiful Ashley Dior-Jones to my left.
Hi, guys.
Hello, hello. And then, of course, the fantastic and equally as beautiful Brie Thiele. How are you?
Yes.
Thanks so
honey,
much, Blake.
equally as
So
beautiful.
good. I'm so excited to get into this, guys. We've got a lot of good stuff.
So much stuff.
A
And I-
lot
It's
of
been
good
a
stuff.
wild week.
There's a lot happening.
crazy week.
There's
in the
so
Hollywood
much
world.
going on. What are we talking about, guys?
Well, I almost feel like I should have been like, hello from Erupt now.
Yes.
Right? I know, I love it. Well, we know one of the biggest things we're going to be talking about today is, of course, the One Night Only with Oprah Winfrey. Adele on CBS, of course.
Let's totally.
Literally.
Let's break it all
chills.
down.
I feel him again. I feel the chills.
It was
it all
so freaking incredible.
Oh my God.
It was so beautiful.
She's such a
Just-
queen.
I love it.
she
Now,
is a
what are you
queen.
going to? I know we've got a bunch of, it's kind of
Oh
like
my
a female
gosh.
power
It's
trip
like,
this
it's like
episode.
a woman empowerment show. We're also going
Right.
to talk about Taylor effing Swift
Swifties.
and Red. Like, mind you, my red outfit today. I mean, I'm all about the girl power today because these girls are stepping up. They're getting their money. They're getting their checks.
Straight
And
up.
I couldn't be happier about it, right? It's
Yeah.
going to be so great. We're also going to talk about Paris Hilton's wedding.
Oh, I know.
Finally.
She
Can you
did.
believe it? She
finally
finally
did it.
tied the knot.
Because this
so
was
I can't
what,
wait to
fifth
Fourth
engagement?
engagement.
Oh
Got
my
it.
gosh, she
Yeah.
has been through it, but I'm glad she finally found her person.
forever.
Ah,
Her
her
forever
forever.
guy.
It's gonna be so good.
Well, and then we are also going to talk about Britney, right?
yeah.
Hashtag
She's
freed Britney. We have a new hashtag out there, and you guys, we have to get into like what she got into over the weekend in LA,
Yes.
just
What do you
celebrating her
do?
freedom.
What do you do?
Yeah. Oh,
It's gonna be fun.
the world is your oyster, and then
Absolutely.
you know, on the flip side of all of this female empowerment, we have Jen Shah. She's kind of the villain.
Still powerful female, though.
Very powerful. Sure,
you guys.
sure.
Don't discount
Absolutely.
that.
She's in some hot water, though. She's in some hot water.
I can't wait.
We're
Or
gonna
hot
break
tea,
it down.
maybe.
There you
Maybe a
go.
little hot tea.
Scorching
That's
tea.
what I'm thinking. I'm
Piping
thinking.
hot.
And in the middle, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the Vanessa Bryant ruling that
Yes.
did come in actually yesterday. So this is hot
Yep.
and fresh, and we can
New
dissect
stuff.
that and talk about it. But let's get into Adele.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Adele.
All right. So we know actually over the weekend, of course, on CBS, we did have the Adele One Night Only with Oprah Winfrey. And you guys, I was blown away. It was chills. It was magical. It was fantastic. Celebrity watching. I mean, I know we've already kind of talked about seeing all of the celebrities that were in attendance. We had who? Leo DiCaprio.
Drake.
Selena Gomez.
Yes. Melissa
A-listers.
McCarthy.
Oh yeah.
Ellen.
Ellen was there. Kris Jenner, another powerful.
Oh, of
female.
course. Well,
Who
Oprah.
has not gone down for money laundering and fraud like Miss Jen Shah has. Oprah was there, of course, Gail.
course.
No sighting of Stedman, which I'm upset about. And
Aw.
Ashley,
Stedman
you keep
is
trying
a
to lecture
homebody.
me.
Let him stay at home and be happy at home. Like I don't think that's his vibe. I really don't.
I just wanted him to vibe one time. I want Stedman out, you guys. I'm like, come on, let him out,
That
Oprah.
would be cool.
Gail gets to have all the fun.
She does. Gail is definitely the ride or die, without question.
Right.
But I can appreciate that Stedman appreciates that.
Right.
He's totally cool with
Lets
it.
her have
which
her
is great.
freedom, her fun.
That's right.
He's the anchor in Montecito. Okay, I
let's
want to know,
talk about-
Brie,
yes.
what's your favorite new song right now from Adele? Because I think you actually have one you were saying, All Too Well. Right? No, Taylor,
hello.
Easy on Me. Easy on
Easy on
Me.
me. Oh, of course. I mean, you
That's-
can't go wrong with
I'm
that.
trying to
You can't
trick
go
you
wrong
with a
with
little
that.
bit of Adele knowledge,
Watch
right?
out.
Keeping
Watch
everybody
out
on their
now.
toes tonight. What about you, Miss Ashley Dior-Jones?
You know, listening to the performance and watching the interview, her reasoning behind Easy on Me and how it relates to her son and her husband was just like, it really made my heart just smile. I mean, just go easy on me. I was just a child. You know, it was it could bring tears to my eyes
Wow,
right now. It was
that's
just
beautiful.
so beautiful. So I
Yeah.
really love that
And
song.
it is. This new album is titled 30. And what's great about it is she's really dived into the fact she's been going through a divorce. She's also, she does have her son, Angelo, her ex-husband now, Simon Konecki. You know, she gives him a lot of credit. And she really says, you know, he's my rock. I would trust him with everything. It's just, I wasn't happy and I wasn't living. And That's what I wanted to do, was to be living.
Wow.
And I know we've all also talked about, too, there was a great segment between her and Oprah, because they intertwined the concert between the interview with her and Oprah, and then they'd go to her making performances. But she talks about her weight loss, you guys. You know, she actually lost right at 100 pounds during the pandemic, which is fantastic. And we've got a clip. Let's play this clip, and then let's see a little bit about what she said.
But it's not my job to validate how people feel about their bodies. And I feel bad that, you know, it's made anyone feel horrible about themselves. But that's not my job. And I can't, I'm trying to sort my own life out. You know, I can't add another worry and another thing to try and nail. I can't.
Oh, so true.
Preach, queen.
Yeah.
Preach.
And I hope people listen. And, you know, I feel like that's what's great about Adele is she is, you know, her fans do trust her and adore her. But she's right. It's not her responsibility, you know, and we just want her to be happy. And I love the quote where she said, I was body positive then, and I'm body positive now.
Because
nothing's changed.
I mean, fill me in. I probably have the worst body positive issues between all of us. I'm always talking.
You're up there.
So fill me in on what that means, though, Brie. You know, for her to say, I was body positive, you know, when I was heavier, and I'm body positive now while I'm skinny.
Well, maybe she was happy then. She's happy now. You know, I think people think because you're a little bit bigger, you know, you're not happy with yourself. And it's like, that's not true. You know, thank God we have this whole body positivity movement that's kind of shed light on all of that. But yeah, you know, it's good to see her being healthy, getting out there. She's obviously like posting a bunch of Instagram pics. She's like, you know, loving her body. She got a lot of kudos and applause for that white suit that she wore in that interview and that clip you just saw. That was like a power suit, like power statement. She is just like taking hold of her femininity and just, you know, ruling the world.
Living her best life.
Living her best life.
Living her best freaking life. I also think it was important to note that she gave up alcohol. And that was a really big kind of move forward in her life. And I thought that was just incredible, how letting go of whatever is holding you back. I was really inspired by that, you know.
Well, and you know,
and she got to know herself so well, she said.
That's what once she was sober.
Right.
That's what she
It's
said.
so interesting.
I just did not know, and this was one of the most fascinating points for me during the interview, is I didn't know the trouble she had with her father. Did you guys know that? He was an alcoholic. He was not present. And this was, of course, you know, my brain goes the other way. So my point was, here all these years we've thought these albums were about the loves of her life, the men she's dating. If you really go back to some of these songs, what if some of these songs were written to her father?
Sure.
Who was absent, and no one ever thought about that. It's at me, I guess, last night when I was watching the show, and I was like, this is so fascinating because maybe these were love letters and grievances to her father and not necessarily all the men in her life.
So true. And so wild that he didn't listen to her music. Did you remember that?
Turned it off.
Turned it off. Whenever Adele came on, he wouldn't listen. Could you imagine having your daughter being Adele and you not listening to her songs?
What is up with that?
Heartbreaking. He just said he couldn't handle it. You know,
But the trauma that gives to her,
Exactly.
that's what's so interesting is, you know, parents don't always realize the trauma that causes for Adele because she's like, I'm this worldwide singer and you're turning my music off? Yeah. That's gotta hurt, you know?
It's gotta hurt. But she has turned over a new leaf, right? She's got this new boo,
Absolutely.
Rich Paul.
Yeah, super agent. Oprah kept saying
Rich
super
Paul,
agent.
They seem so happy, so in love. She's just so joyous, right? And it's just, that's what we want to see from our favorite stars. Like, we want you happy. The one thing, though, I hope we don't lose out on sad music go forward because we need Adele to go through.
Yes.
I need to go through that sometimes with her, right? Don't you guys?
Oh, you know, I love that. I'm sure everyone watching will say the same thing, is that when they played Rolling in the Deep, she's like, it's okay, you guys get up and dance, because she's like, every one of my songs is so slow. And so everybody was dancing and partying, and I was like, I love that she recognizes that. I think it'd be fun, though, to have some upbeat songs, right? This new album,
Totally.
You know, after her next one, maybe, you know, hopefully her and Rich work out if that's what they want for each other. I want some fun Adele. I want to hear some bops.
That
you know?
would be
Absolutely.
epic.
But then what about the engagement, the surprise engagement?
Yes.
You guys, how cute was that?
Give a little backstory. I know, congratulations.
Ashley and Quentin.
I
We're so
know.
happy
Oh,
they
look
are.
at the picture, you guys. If you did not watch the One Night Only, please just go watch it even for that moment. It was
so beautiful.
fantastic. And it was a surprise. So, Ashley, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Oh my gosh, I'll talk a little bit about it because I would have died if my fiance did this to me. So apparently Ashley knew she didn't know about anything that was happening. There was, they made like a fake TV show, and I think Quentin like put in his request to be on the show to propose to his girlfriend of 7 years.
Aw.
7.
It's time.
It's time. So, I mean, it was so funny when Adele, when she was telling everyone about it, she was like, shh, don't say a
When
word,
she
don't
had
say a word.
headphones and blindfolded too, right?
Yeah, so she comes out and Quentin's like expressing his love and she's just looking around. She's like, where are we? What are we doing? She sees Drake and Melissa McCarthy.
Because the lights are dark.
Exactly. it was just beautiful. She of course said yes, and it was just
gosh.
so romantic.
Well, and it's so funny. I guess that couple is like ready for round 2 with Oprah and Adele. They're like at the wedding.
Oh, I
Let's
know,
go.
right?
Oprah
Absolutely
officiate. Adele
invited.
perform. I mean,
What a great
Have
matchup
to.
right there. That
What a
I'm
dream.
telling you guys. So the lights were off, and Adele walks out after they propose, and she still doesn't realize that it's Adele. And Adele's like, "Hi," and she's still crying, and she's like, and that's where I died. I was like, this girl has no idea the powerhouses she's surrounded by right now.
Lucky lady.
Oh,
Congratulations
so
again.
lucky.
Such a beautiful.
He
that
loves
was
you
beautiful.
so
though.
much,
Yes,
right?
you could tell
Honestly.
that in the story.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
so fantastic.
All right.
Such
Well,
a
what do
fun
we
show.
move us into another female powerhouse?
Oh my gosh.
Ashley, you
guys,
in your red dress.
We have
Straight
to talk
up.
about Taylor effing Swift, right? And I'm
Look at
putting the
that.
effing in there because she is making a stance for herself. She is claiming back her music, you guys. It's going to be so incredible. So here's kind of the scoop. So if you didn't know, Taylor's record label, Big Machine Records, was acquired by Scooter Braun. And for $300 million, mind you. And so when the company was bought, Swift did not own her 6 albums, right? So then Scooter sold the masters to another company. The company is, I think, Shamrock is what it's called. But yeah, there's just so much drama. And, just recently, Taylor decided to re-record all of her freaking songs, guys. So make sure to go out and buy those. Buy the ones that...
Taylor's version.
The Taylor's
Taylor's
version,
version.
exactly. But I thought this was so interesting. In 2019, it was, I believe... I think it was Kelly Clarkson tweeted and said, you know what, Taylor, this is what you should do. You should go out and you should re-record all of your music and sell it that way. And that's exactly what Taylor did. I mean, talk about girl power and helping each other out. It's incredible. But the drama with Scooter is just, it's a mess.
Well, Taylor was really
mess.
upset about the rights of her music being sold, right? She was
Absolutely.
very opposed to it.
Yes.
They didn't even tell her.
Yeah, she had no idea.
And she writes all of her songs.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
what's so crazy about this music business and entertainment in general is that you don't own anything.
Right.
And can you imagine
Right.
being Taylor Swift and that going on behind your back and the Swifties coming out?
Not happy. Oh yeah, had
What's
to
it
do
called?
something
Sticking
about
it
that.
to the man?
Sticking it
That's
to the
what
man.
she
Straight
did.
up, straight sticking it,
to the
straight
man.
sticking it.
What do you think, though? I want to know, have any of you listened, though, to some of Taylor's new cuts?
I haven't yet.
I have.
I have too.
They're good. And you know what I love is that I almost wish artists would do this like every 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Your voice changes
Yeah.
as you get older.
Yeah.
Your voice changes, for males it deepens, for females you get a different sort of tone. And I love it because it's like a whole different experience listening.
Swifties love her song All Too Well, which folks suspect is about, her breakup with Jake Gyllenhaal, we think, maybe.
I think they've pretty much confirmed
drama.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it totally is.
Yeah.
But there is a 10-minute version of All Too Well on Red that fans are just going crazy for. It's really, really beautiful, new lyrics. Just, yeah, it's worth a listen for sure. And then she has a message at the end. She talks about this new version. It's really quick. And she's like, this is how I meant for the album to be in its entirety. And I hope you guys enjoy it.
Did I tell you guys? So on social media right now, there's this video going viral. So last night, after everyone started to listen to music, and all the speculations are coming out about Jake Gyllenhaal again, a bar literally played the All Too Well, and on the big screen at the bar, they played montage clips of Jake Gyllenhaal crying from all of his films. And then,
dirty!
Oh my gosh! And then of course they took the burn book and they rewrote it, and they were like, "Jake, you are the nastiest, skankiest person." And I was like,
So
How do
harsh.
people think of this?
harsh.
I was like, this is amazing.
They're all over it. Apparently,
And
Jake
Dionne
was.
Warwick, did you see that?
Yes,
I did see that.
Give the scarf back.
Scarf back.
Send the scarf back. So tragic. But apparently
Transcending.
Jake was, he kind of went into hiding. Like the internet was just discussing him over the past couple days.
Wild.
Really wild. The power that she has.
The
but
power that she
Taylor's
has.
version. Yeah, I had to do a deep dive into all of that and see what Taylor's version was all about. And it makes so much sense.
It's crazy listening to some of those songs and wondering what in those studio executives' minds were making them think this won't work. This won't.
Right.
Because one of my favorite ones from that is a song called Babe, which she actually gave to Sugarland. Because the company wouldn't let her put it on the album. So she recut it for Taylor's version, and it's a completely different song.
Wow.
That's why I love that. I really want artists to start doing that.
Yeah.
Like every 10 years.
Take
go
your power
in,
back.
Yes. Re-record your music. Let's hear how your voice has changed, those new life
not?
experiences.
Well, you know
really-
what's sorry, Ash.
go
You know
ahead.
what's funny too is she was saying her fans felt guilty about listening to the old versions because they didn't kind of want to benefit Scooter Braun. So she was like,
Exactly.
"This
It makes
way,
sense.
no guilt, no shame,
No
like
guilt, no shame.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting though. Record companies are already like shaking in their boots because of what Taylor has done. Some companies like Universal Music Group are enlisting contracts where artists must wait a longer designated time before they can re-release music because Taylor is shaking the table. Taylor is
Well, I
like
think she had the
getting
most
her power back.
streams
Yes.
of Red.
It's already on the streaming charts. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Doing big things. So you go, girl.
Good for her. That's her music. She
girl.
writes that music. She has every right.
She should own every bit
You know
of
what
it.
I mean? And don't
know.
scam her.
Absolutely.
What Scooter Braun did was scam her.
That's
It
so
scammed
dirty.
the
So
music
dirty.
industry.
So messy.
I
So
wonder,
messy.
before we move on, I have a question for you guys. Do you think this would have still been as big of a story if this had been done to, let's say, a male artist? Do you think sometimes, because it was
question,
a female and
Blake.
we have that powerhouse, I'm wondering maybe, which is a great thing. I'm glad, I hate that it happened to Taylor, but I'm glad that it was a female who could take her power back so we could see what's going on behind the scenes. But I wonder if it had been just like a male country music artist or something.
I don't know if
we
it would have
never
been as
heard.
big of a deal.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah,
I agree.
It's interesting, right?
she has the power of the Swifties too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got to watch out.
Yeah.
You got to watch
Yeah.
out for them.
And she's got the power of her amazing voice and the power of her amazing writing skills. And, we just have to remember to lean on that, right? I mean, so many women are taking their power back. Did you guys read about Jessica Simpson? Just curious.
Oh, yeah. She just bought
She
her
just
company.
bought back
She
her
bought-
name and her company.
Wow.
And what a time to be alive, you guys.
Totally.
Women are, we're out here making money and, taking
That's
our names
good.
back and owning ourselves. It's a
Everyone
beautiful
has the
thing.
right to do that, though. When you have talent and that's what you do and you're a creator, you should get to own that.
Absolutely.
Talk about, I know we've got another one. It's funny because on my notes,
I mean-
instead of it saying Brie, it says Britney.
So apropos.
But you
so
know what? Let's let her
apropos.
be Britney for a hot second. But another female artist who's also taken her power back. Let's talk about
of
it.
course, Britney Spears. I mean, Britney fans just around the world, I think, were just celebrating the termination of the conservatorship from
yes.
hell. The judge terminated it fair and square on Friday. There are some safeguards in place, I believe, so that there's a responsible exit from the conservatorship. But she and her fiance, Sam, they were out celebrating over the weekend. You guys, she went to Catch, which is right down the street. I think she calls it the most beautiful restaurant. She had her first glass of champagne in 13 years.
It makes you want to cry. Like, it's bittersweet, but it's like
heartbreaking.
sad.
It's so
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking.
She's very childlike on Instagram. Everybody was
She
making
is
fun of her.
very
But
childlike.
I saw that post, what you said about the
Yeah.
champagne. And you're like, you're in your 30s and you're Britney Spears. You've never gotten your first glass of champagne.
Wild.
It breaks your heart, but you've given every bit of your life to the world and the
Yeah.
fans and your
Yeah.
family. And you have been, I'm glad do you know anything about the exit strategy? Because that was worrying me. I was like, she does need to make sure that she's protected and that she probably still
Exactly.
needs to go to therapy.
I mean, could you imagine just getting access to $60 million or however much her estate is worth? Well, Jody Montgomery, I believe the conservator who took over for Jamie Spears, is still going to be in her life. That's what she said at the court hearing, and will hopefully back her out of it easily. But it was just kind of a unanimous, everyone was on board with the termination of it. But I think there's things like the power of attorney. I think there's something with Britney's trust. Things need to be transferred over. So a lot of her fans were worried that one of those technicalities would force her to stay
sense.
in the
Right,
conservatorship.
right.
But the judge was just like, no, we're done. We've had enough. Like you're free.
It was so
basically.
exciting. When I heard the news on Friday, I literally went on Apple Music and I played all of my favorite Britney songs. I was dancing and I'm a slave. I was dancing and singing and celebrating her freedom because, like, she was such an important part of, I know, my life.
Yeah.
Well, she was
You
our
know?
childhood, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Her
Big time.
music was so exciting and her dancing was so phenomenal and she was just so free. And I can't wait to see what she does next. I really can't. Do you guys think she's going to go like on tour or start performing right away? Like, what do we think is next for Britney Spears?
It's weird. I don't know if it'll be right away, but I think you can just tell that I think in like 5 to 10 years, maybe even a little sooner, 5 to 7, she's going to get that itch where she wants to be back on stage.
Oh,
I just
know
think
it.
she's ready to have it. She wants a child with Sam.
Exactly.
You know, she
Sounds like
wants to
she
get
might take a
married.
couple years
Yeah.
and just live her life, you know, drive a car again. It was
That's-
like she was
that's so
photographed out
sad.
driving her Mercedes, and it's like you never see pictures of her driving. She hasn't been able to drive for 13
But
years.
that's one of my, I don't know if you guys ever do this, but do you ever go on YouTube and look at old paparazzi videos?
Oh, I
like,
do.
I'm talking
I
like,
actually do
the
that.
2000s. But it leads you
The
to
wild
believe
time.
now, oh my God, the best times. We need paparazzi back.
best
I'm
time.
sorry.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
save a little
Play.
bit. But
Cell
the
phones
energy-
changed that,
I
Newsy.
Exactly. We
Now
have
we're the
Instagram.
paparazzi.
Yeah, right,
Exactly.
right.
No, I want us to walk out of the studio right here on Sunset, and I'm like,
no
snap,
pictures, no
you know, a little bit like, oh, did they just trip? Did they have a boozy lunch downstairs?
Oh,
But you really start to realize, like, maybe a lot of those videos we would see of her where she had the fake accents, she was driving the car, she was going crazy, were because this erratic behavior was because of how she was being controlled.
Sure, she was rebelling.
You know,
maybe.
and at that
sense.
point, we're just like, oh, look, she's acting out, but you don't realize what's going on behind the scenes.
I mean, I think that behavior is kind of what led to the conservatorship. But
100%.
yeah, we don't know exactly. I don't know exactly when it all went down. But there is some dispute also as to whether or not it was a voluntary conservatorship. Like, there's some weird stuff in the court hearing on Friday. Like, the judge was saying they didn't realize it was an involuntary conservatorship. Wow. And everyone was just like, no, she was in this involuntarily. You know, she was basically locked into this thing.
Which is why the family was so involved. I know a little bit about conservatorships, and, you know, there's medical and health conservatorships, and then there's, of course, your finances and that sort of thing. But for those, especially the medical and health and all, with hers being involuntary, that means her family had to go forward and say, these are the signs she's exhibiting, this is why we need control, etc. But I believe what you're referring to, Brie, is the judge was a little confused because it seems like the family had a way of just sliding everything under the rug.
Right.
And because we didn't have social media back then, and we
Right.
didn't have Me Too movement, we didn't have all these, you know, cultural reforms, I think Britney just got the shorthand of the deal.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And
Oh,
it just
yeah.
lasted way too long.
Way too long.
13 years is way too long.
What's your favorite Britney song?
I'm a
Ashley?
slave for you.
Okay, what
without
about you, Brie?
question.
Probably Toxic.
Oh, do you? All right.
Oh, is it the same
Wait,
album?
no, Toxic and Slave for You. Slave for You, wait.
Yeah, no, they're different albums.
Okay, right.
Different
Toxic
albums.
was before.
Toxic?
Toxic was after,
Oh,
right?
Slave for
I'm
You.
a slave for you, like she did on the VMAs. Like, this
Right.
With the
was-
snake.
Yeah.
Which you remember was Carol Baskin when they brought, did you know that?
wait,
Carol
what?
Baskin, Tiger King, you guys, Tiger King 2, by the way, dropping on Netflix soon, is actually, she is sitting in the audience of that performance because she was an animal keeper.
There was a
No.
tiger.
Handler, and there was
There
a tiger, and that was from Carol Baskin's retreat thing in Florida.
That's what a small world. Like,
God,
seriously?
you can tell what gets me excited.
Full
A little bit of
circle.
Tiger King.
Totally.
Full
Full circle.
But how
That's
crazy now, right?
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. So we're all so happy for her.
But yeah.
Hopefully we'll see her around town. You know?
I know,
Which is
right?
great.
Bump into her.
I love it. I love it. Well, I guess, you know, another big piece of news also dealing with courts and judges and that sort of thing, a little more sad going on right now. Of course, we know January 26, 2020, which is so weird to think this was back when COVID, right before COVID had really even hit LA, if you remember. That's
Yeah.
a year. We're coming up on 2 years. You know,
Yeah.
January will be 2 years from this date, but January 26, 2020 was unfortunately when Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and of course 7 others died in the unfortunate helicopter crash. We've seen a lot of lawsuits come out of this. One of the biggest ones right now that a judge actually just ruled on yesterday is Vanessa Bryant is suing LA County for emotional distress, and she's suing for millions and millions of dollars. Where the courts have come into play on this is that they are wanting her to open up her therapy and mental health records because they want to be able to say, you know, the county's wanting to say, oh, you weren't suffering from emotional distress because of this, because she's claiming firefighters and police officers were out and about in LA during this time sharing private photos that they had all taken from the helicopter crash site
Right.
and were showing them at the bar. And, and so she's saying she doesn't want this to ever affect another family again and to have to go through that. But then she's also putting up her hands and saying, I don't want you to see my medical records. I don't
Right.
want you to
Very
see what I've
private.
talked to my therapist about.
Yes.
But the judge ruled yesterday that she is going to have to release those if she wants to move forward. So I want to know, Ashley, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that? Do you believe because what she is suing for is emotional distress that the courts have a right to see anything related to this particular case?
I mean, I think it kind of makes sense, right? I feel like the therapy records go directly to her emotional condition, which she noted, was the main effect of this. So I think it makes sense that, the courts would ask for these therapy records. I didn't think they would actually allow this to happen, you guys.
didn't either.
I was like, therapy records are usually closed, sealed, locked and loaded no matter what. But the fact that this was ruled, I was really shocked by it, And I read that, Vanessa just wants someone to take accountability, right? For releasing these photos that, caused so much harm to her family. So I really didn't think this is what the courts would say. So I'm interested to see what happens next.
The next steps.
What about you, Brie?
Well, she's been very vocal about saying that morning she was not notified in the correct manner, right? She was not notified by the sheriff's office or the fire department. I believe she also has beef with them because there were some personnel on the scene. But rather, some of those crash scene photos went viral, and her friends basically were texting her, "Rip Kobe," in the morning. "Rest in peace, Kobe." "Rip Kobe," notifications popping up on her phone left and right about the crash, and she just was in the dark. She was not notified. So she said that morning, in a panic, tried to charter a helicopter to the crash site, couldn't do so because of the flying conditions. But she was just left in the dark, it sounds like, for some time.
That bothers me, what you just said. She could not charter a helicopter, but yet that helicopter was able to take off that morning with all of those people. That right there shows you someone missed the boat on saying, okay, let's let this copter take off, because this crash would have never happened because the weather was terrible that morning. There was no reason for them to be in that helicopter. And that's just devastating.
Absolutely. But I think this was a helicopter that Kobe took all the time, right? All over Southern California, like to Laker games and wherever they were going that day. So he obviously felt very comfortable. But
it's so weird because I remember the night before, and I remember being out with friends and it just being so foggy. Like it was like I remember walking
weird.
out and I was like, it's so foggy out here today. It was just like so foggy that I took a minute and was like, this is weird. Right? And then to see what happened the next day, it was just so
And that early in the morning,
so bizarre.
which would have been a lot of the same fog, because night and morning.
Exactly.
You just wonder who made that mistake. Why did any of them? Because what's also sad about this case is so many other families are not getting there was the husband that his wife and child were on the, and it's like, it's overshadowed by that, but there's so many other families that were involved with this.
Oh, yeah.
And it breaks my heart, the entire thing.
I just, prayers out to their family. I mean, the fact that they still have to continue to go through this, it's
I definitely think do you think she'll win? I mean, we can't not answer that question. I think she'll win against the emotional distress, don't you? If those medical records show it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's the biggest thing is they're just wondering, did these particular, because she's suing explicitly for the fact that those fire department and police officers, those specific ones. So if they can't prove that, I don't think they will, but I have a feeling.
Or hopefully some policy changes in place.
Exactly.
Like these sheriff's deputies and officers can't be out there just taking personal pictures, right?
Exactly.
Apparently they were taking personal pictures of Gigi and Kobe.
Everything. Well, I remember the swarms of like E-News reporters and everyone that were getting so close to the site that you could see the smoke billowing up. I mean, that was back when you still had E-News and all of that. And they sent everyone over there to watch, and I was like, there's like 9 people dead.
Yeah, this is a tragedy.
Right.
It's a tragedy,
Yeah.
right. But the courts are basically saying her emotional distress came from the loss of her husband and her baby and
Not
her
from
family.
the photos
Not from the
being
photos.
shared.
Right.
So that's kind of what this whole issue is. So I think we're just gonna have to watch it close because I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's gonna, but it's obviously things are gonna be happening soon. So
Totally.
I would like to know though. All right, Miss Brie.
What's that?
Because you know what time it is. Do you know what? Should I pull out my cell phone, my big coat, and my jacket?
It's Salt Lake City time.
Oh, it's Salt Lake
Are we
City.
gonna get down and
Oh,
dirty
my
with?
goodness.
Oh man, our favorite crazy, wild, loose cannon. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Jen Shah, for anyone who does not watch, she's a character that's front and center all the time. On season 1, I mean, she was just in the thick of things. And if you watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, on Sunday night, you saw the arrest go down, or should I say her actually evading authorities?
She went on the run.
She
went
fled
on the run.
scene. It was wild. It was wild. Let me get into some background real quick for Ash, you too. So on March 30th of 2021, Jen Shah is arrested in Salt Lake City. She appears in federal court on charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud in connection with telemarketing and conspiracy to commit money laundering. There she is. According to the federal indictment, which is filed in the Southern District Court of New York, which the Southern District Court of New York does not mess around. They do not go after someone until they have all of their T's crossed and their I's dotted. I mean, they have enough evidence. The alleged fraud began when victims invested in a purported online business opportunity with other participants in the scheme. Jen, her assistant Stuart Smith, and business associates then sold investor services that would make their business more efficient or profitable, including tax preparation or website design services. Notwithstanding, many of these victims were elderly and didn't even own a computer, according to the charges. At no point did Jen Shah and Stuart Smith intend the victims to earn any of the promises returned on their investments, and the victims didn't earn any returns. The two allegedly generated and sold lead lists of innocent individuals for other members of their scheme to repeatedly scam. So it sounds like she had a team of people scamming. According to the indictment, the so-called business opportunities pushed on the victims by Shah, Smith, and co-conspirators were fraudulent schemes motivated by greed meant to steal victims' money. That is in the indictment. There were allegedly hundreds of victims, and this had been going on since 2012. So for a while, Jen, of course, appeared in the first season. She was often the center of the narrative. They were 3 months into filming when this all went down. And everyone's been captivated by like her rise and fall. It's
I want to be like, Jen, come a little closer. All right. Let me give you a word of advice. All right.
Yeah.
As Miss Brie has told us, 2012. Okay.
The curse.
So
yes.
you decided that your yearning for fame was so intense that you had to go do a Bravo reality TV show, knowing you scammed for 9 years all these people, and you didn't think the authorities were going to find out.
The nerve.
Teresa Giudice. Who else we got? Erica Girardi.
Of course.
Of course. Baby, look at what's gone on in this franchise. If you have got a skeleton, or in her case, multiple skeletons, it's going to come out.
Like, part of me thinks it's like these Bravo producers are like, do you have something in your closet?
Have you been
salacious?
Have you been evading taxes?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank
Come
you.
on, yes.
Do you feel like you ever have the possibility of going to federal prison? Yes. Great. You're hired.
You're hired.
Yeah. You're gonna be
Absolutely.
great.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, does the trouble come after getting cast on the Housewives? Or, like, is that the reason that...
I think it amplifies it.
It must.
All the
It must.
eyes go on you, you know?
Wow. Yeah. And it's so crazy, Ash. She just made up this whole excuse on the show while the cameras were rolling. She like asked them to sneakily turn off her mic. She's like, turn off my mic.
If you were a good housewife, okay, let me just please agree with me on this. Whitney, who was the housewife that Jen asked to turn off the mic, I wouldn't have turned her mic off. I would have been like this. I would have said, like, Brie, turn around. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby doll, I got you. No worries. It's turned off.
Good.
I'm looking out for you. Knowing good and well I would have left that mic running the entire time.
That's
so
pretty good.
Blake.
That's
That's
pretty
incredible.
Because tell them what she was saying
Well,
about
she basically
Sharif.
said that her husband, Sharif Sr., had internal bleeding. She had to go. Yeah, like,
whoa.
Like the guy could die. The guy's on his deathbed, and all of her castmates are like, should we even go? Like, is this okay? Like, what is going on? And she's just kind of calm about it. She's like, oh yeah, he is. I don't really know what's going on, but I have to go. And she pulls out of there, and 10 minutes later, I mean,
in
you
her
just
aunt's
see.
truck.
Yeah.
She's not even in her car. She's in like a 4x4.
Yeah. I mean, you need those in Salt Lake City, right?
And you find out that she was on the run, and they tracked her by pinging the location on her cell phone. And it's beautiful. It was brilliant. You know, Andy Cohen kept teasing it for weeks. He's like, we're coming up to one of the best moments in Housewives entertainment history. And it was. Because then on top of that, we're all sitting here wondering, who it is that tipped them off.
Right.
Someone has tipped them off. I'm going to go with, I think it was Meredith.
Oh.
Because Meredith, another housewife, in the bathtub, taking calls. Oh, I didn't know that was going on. I'm not surprised. Like, blah. And you're
Doesn't
like,
have the TV on. Not a care in the world.
You're filming a reality TV show, knowing you've got all these women coming to join you in Vail at this 10,000 square foot home, and you've just put your phone on the counter all day.
That's so true.
She was so
That's
zen.
so true.
So zen.
They're saying someone tipped him off
Has
because
tipped, yeah.
only producers knew that they were going to meet there and their family members. But then all the other Jen Shah drama that came out, like how she's basically on the red list at Louis Vuitton because she only pays cash. Sketchy. And that Meredith Marks, who's a fashion designer, she has a store in Salt Lake City, a boutique in New York. I think Jen was visiting her boutique in New York. One of Jen's assistants like walked out with something,
Stole
something,
a bag, and it's all on camera. So then Bravo, of course, love it.
So genius.
Then plays all the security footage of the person we don't know, male or female,
right,
stealing the bag and then the next day bringing it back. But we also got, thankfully, because of Ring doorbell cameras, you know, the doorbells that have the camera, we were able to actually see Homeland Security raid their entire home. And they show up with rifles, guns, and it's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the kids.
The kids came out, they're like, hands up. They're
that
like,
was
so
sad.
scared.
Terrible.
But just seeing that she is scammed, and that's what all the housewives were saying, and it is upsetting. Anytime someone's going through that, guilty, not guilty, or whatever, it's a sad time for the family.
Definitely.
But to hear that she purposefully and intentionally did all of this to elderly customers and stole their information and then sold it to scam
And
them,
like repeatedly scam.
for years. Because none of her lifestyle made sense. Her husband's a college football coach.
I always
Right,
thought that was
right,
weird. I was
right.
like, how does she have so much money? It just didn't add up, literally.
She's way too flashy.
My favorite part, though, I've got to tell you, was I'm like, where's my cell phone? Oh, here. This is Breeze. Okay, so here we are, right here in the bus. Lisa, on the phone with all 6 attorneys, is sitting here with sunglasses like this. Hey, Ryan,
So
do you know what's
sketchy.
going on right now? Then they cut to phone call 2. Hey, Tom, listen, we've got some. She went through attorney all on this bus ride, and they time coded it, Ashley, because I know you love a little gossip like that.
Of course I
It
do.
was
I live
beautiful.
for it.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
That is just wild. That is just wild. The drama of the housewives it's freaking never ending, it seems.
It's getting better, though. Don't you
Is
guys
it
feel
getting
like
better?
it? I mean, I feel like
pretty good.
Everyone slept on Potomac, and I mean, even look at Potomac taking off.
I watched that
Totally.
reunion yesterday, child. It was a lot. The tea on that. We'll have to talk about that next week. But I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And can we talk about Beverly Hills for just a
Yeah, of
moment?
course.
Let's talk about Kathy Hilton and the wedding that she just attended
know!
for her very own daughter, Paris Hilton.
So
Congratulations, Paris. So Paris married venture capitalist Carter Ream in Bel Air over the weekend. Carter and Paris have been friends for more than 15 years. They reconnected during Thanksgiving in 2019. How sweet is that? Mindy Weiss, of course, planned the wedding. That's why it was so gorgeous. And they did it on 11/11, which is a very special day to Paris.
I told you I'm weird about that, right? Anytime I see or hear 11/11, I have to lick my elbows and make a wish. I've been doing it since I was like
Lick with your elbow.
You're
I do it like
doing
that,
a lot of
and then,
this because 11/11
Try
is
not to
all
say it too much.
11/11,
My fingers will
11/11,
prune.
11/11. It's all over this wedding because that's like her favorite time. She even has she launched a media company called 11/11 Media. It's filming and producing a new show for Peacock called Paris in Love.
Yes.
So Paris is Paris back? Is Paris
Yes.
back? We are so happy for you,
think
girl.
she's back.
Congratulations.
Yes,
That's super hot.
congratulations.
Right? And you look so beautiful during your wedding. That Oscar de la Renta gown with everything to die for. She
Nailed
looked
it.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah, there's a photo right there of the family.
Kathy looks stunning.
Kathy, of course.
That's a beautiful.
There we are.
There
Look at
she
that.
is.
Such
Yes.
a beautiful family, though.
Such a lovely family.
Oh my gosh, that veil. She was saying the veil was just so heavy. She was like, I'm a first time bride. I've never done this before. I don't know what to do.
Did
It
you
was
see Kim
cute hearing her
Kardashian, though,
say
helping
that.
her?
Yes,
Have you
Kim
seen those
I
photos?
did. It
Kim
was
is like
beautiful.
fluffing the veil.
Oh no.
Full circle moment.
Love
Absolutely
it.
full circle moment
Wow.
for that. So Demi Lovato and Bruno Mars performed at the wedding. So it was pretty star-studded. And
Heck
it looked
yeah.
like a beautiful occasion. And it was a wonderful way to kick off the weekend. Right?
I'm
It
glad
was
Paris
lovely.
is back. You know, she went through a lot of trauma too. And she's had that
she did.
documentary, and we just got to give
Yeah.
these celebrities that we love. I mean, think about The Simple Life back then.
Oh,
and you know,
Simple
she's
Life.
now come out that this was all a character, but you know, they give us so much, and sometimes we got to take a step back back and be like, let them go through their trauma. You know, let them go through it. Britney, all of these great, powerful,
They are
entertaining
just
women.
like us.
They're just
right?
like us. I bet
so
they put
true.
their pants on the same way we did this morning.
Oh, you know it.
Celebrities,
probably.
they do
You know it. You know it.
Oh,
But
look
I
at that.
mean-
Was that the reception?
Yes, that was the reception.
Look at
I mean, she
that.
looks like a literal Barbie doll.
Is
I
that
mean,
Carter in
she
the
just looks
tracksuit?
So happy.
Yeah, how
It almost
cute.
looks
So
like
happy.
Playboy's Midsummer Night Party. Remember
Yeah.
Midsummer Dream
oh,
Party?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I love about Paris? I love that Paris is still Paris. You
Yes.
know, like
Totally.
this is totally
Totally.
like not the trend right
Mm-hmm.
now, but Paris is just, you know, like this is me. This is how I feel happy. Who cares what you guys think? This
I
is,
love hot pink.
Yeah, she's
do.
like I love that she stayed true to herself for so long,
I
right?
had no idea she made such a fortune with
On her own. Because you know
Totally.
she was
She
cut
comes-
out of the will
right.
and everything. Remember back in the day with Simple Life, the grandfather did not leave. Yeah, so everything
Mr.
she's
Hilton.
done is literally been on her own with Simple
Amazing.
Life, her documentaries, her clothes.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
perfume.
she said
Every
the-
country has a
the
perfume.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God.
true.
$300 million.
Yeah.
And then Carter apparently is worth 40 million. So yeah.
And I mean, think about it. The Simple Life was kind of the beginning of this, you know,
Reality television.
TV. Like she kind of started it.
Her and
kids.
Nicole Richie.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I mean, kudos, especially looking at what it's become now. I mean, we're talking about the Housewives and all this drama. Like, would we have the Housewives, you guys, if we didn't have Paris and Nicole first? That's
And
the
then look
question.
who
Great
is the
question.
housewife
Where
now,
would we
her
Great
mother.
question.
That's what's so weird about
Oh,
all
that
this.
is
circle.
weird.
Hollywood, small
Everyone's getting
circle.
in on it. Yeah.
But
Wild.
congratulations, Paris and
Congrats.
Carter. We're so happy for
Yes.
you.
I
And
love
Kathy.
happiness. And Kathy, and Kathy, sign your contracts. You can start back filming Beverly Hills. We're hearing the rumors here at the T now that you are opposing because of money. So Andy, write her that check.
Yep.
All right, we
Give her
want you
what she
back on.
wants. Give her what she wants.
I love it. Well, I love this us ending on a happy note. You know, make sure you guys are subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget erupt.news. So many great articles come out daily. We also have a slate of other shows on our YouTube podcast channel.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you guys want to plug? Anything you've got coming up?
Oh my gosh, we're on all the Twitter, TikTok, all the social
All
media
the social
platforms. Give us a
platforms.
follow and
Definitely.
leave your comments below, right?
Yeah.
Let us know.
And Thanksgiving.
And come back
You guys
next
ready to
week.
eat next week? I know.
Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. It's going to be great.